A very warm good evening. This is Arunavo Chaudhary. You are on my YouTube channel, Arunfoot. It is July the 7th, 2025. It's a Monday, and it's another Indian football discussion here on my channel. And we'll hopefully talk once more about Indian football, what's all happening, what's not happening. Of course, we will go back to the success of the Indian women's team in regard to the AFC Women's Asian Cup qualification, I think, which was and which is a huge step for Indian football, and talk about those things and other things as well. At the start of this live, as always, if you want to be part of the discussion, do ask your questions. But for that, of course, you have to subscribe to the channel. So please do. And like and share this video. Look at the other videos. I did something today about the AIFF and what the AIFF sort of did for the women's team and the Asian Cup and other things. So therefore, thanks as always for your support. The World Cup seems a realistic dream with the right preparation. AIFF, I am not gonna talk about the World Cup at this moment in time. I said that yesterday. Yes, it is something which is potentially doable for us. But for me, talking about the World Cup, I feel is a little premature. If you ask me, talking about the FIFA Women's World Cup in regard to our women's national, which is a little premature, because I think we all need to be very, very honest. We've, of course, made it to the top 12 teams in Asia. 6 out of the 12 can play in a World Cup. 8, it could be max 8 with the intercontinental playoffs. But if you see the teams in pot 1, in pot 2, even in pot 3, then it's going to be a long road for us to get to that World Cup. And I rather enjoy this moment than this is my learning in regard to Indian football. I don't want to go too far ahead, but just enjoy the moment and say, you know what, we've achieved something which we all might not have thought is possible for us, right? Or many people would have said, and even I said, to be very, very honest, I had slim hopes of qualifying for the Asian Cup. Now we've done it. We saw that we were on a thin line against Thailand, and the competition next in Australia is going to be tough. And you mentioned the right words, right preparation. Yes, you can put in everything that is needed over the next 7, 8, 9 months. And there are certain deficiencies which we have, which you will not be able to catch up with in regard to the other teams. Fact. So enjoy it. The World Cup is somewhere there, somewhere up there, but we have to be realistic. I'm very pragmatic on that. So, yeah. Good evening, Giron Rare. Welcome back. Still no pre-season from most of the clubs. Giron Rare, how can we have pre-season when we don't know what will happen with the league? If you are working in a club, if you're working for a club or for an entity, and you are asked to prepare a pre-season, and you honestly do not know how things are going to move forward, then how are you going to plan? I think this is what I've said in this channel, on short videos, on lives as well in the past. A lot of people working in the system were not willing to accept that we could be facing this situation because the AIFF have not done their homework. Right? And now, let's hope for the best. I think the Supreme Court is the first thing. What happens whenever the hearing happens, you know, and let's see if and when the ISL would be held, and what happens with the rest of the system. Right? The AIFF giving the women's team the $50,000 prize money is great. But can the AIFF really afford to do that if they need to look at the preparation of the Indian women's team going forward? I think all those things are interlinked. Because now I've not seen any corporate come forward to say, you know what, I put XYZ figure grant forward for the women's team. Even in Kerala or Bengal, for example, when the states won the respective Santosh Trophy, there was someone on the other putting in at least a few lakhs onto the table. That is the real question. We should aim for the next Asian Cup qualification by merit right now, and in the Asian Cup, if we're able to finish top 8, then it's a good achievement. Palash, playing the Asian Cup for me is already the achievement in 2026. If we finish top 8, we can go into the World Cup playoffs. Right? For me, I agree with you that 2030 should be the plan, right? That we are working towards that, working towards the next bit, the next level of success. And the question for us is what can we do? What do we need to do to be successful in that? Because I saw the AIFF claim a few things that, we did this, we did that, with this, which had actually, except that they, did a 53-day camp for the women's team and played 2 friendly matches against Uzbekistan. None of that had any impact on what they were doing now. But that's the main thing for me. We need to be hoping that it works out. What do you think about Minerva Academy participating in those youth tournaments? Are they really working on development, or is it just show off? It is exposure for those kids. Any exposure is good exposure, but those tournaments are grassroots tournaments in Scandinavia. That is not high profile, top quality football. Good exposure. Any exposure for Indian kids is good exposure. But is it going to help us in the long run? I don't think so. Dada, Shachi is going to announce Bengal's Super League tomorrow, 8 clubs from 8 districts. Yes, Polosh, it's been something that the IFA has been wanting to do for the last close to 15 years. I myself was approached, I conceptualized a league in 2013, a Bengal state league. Never saw the day of light. So therefore, let's see how it works out. I hope it works out, because the aim I hope the aim and what needs to be done for football is the real focus, and not really we talk about doing something and hope that it somehow works out. I think that's my biggest concern and my biggest fear with such ideas. Jordan lead by 2-0 against Lebanon in AFC Asian Cup qualifiers women. Okay, interesting. Which coaches have fulfilled form of Indian coach? Rocky, there is speculation on the same, but I think nobody has a confirmation. I think we'll have to wait and see. Who actually does fill up and how the AIFF pursues the process. In the Asian Cup 2026, there will be 4 groups and top 2 move to quarterfinals, or will it be different 3 groups? As far as I know, let me just check. As far as I know, it was 3 groups of 4. And of course, the top 2 from each group move ahead. And let me see, Group A, Group B, yeah. So Group A has Australia. And so the 2 top teams of each group, A, B, C, will move into the quarterfinals. And 2 out of the 3 best third place teams will also move into the quarterfinals. So at the moment, as it stands, as per current rankings, and the draw is scheduled for the 29th of July, so India will be in pot 4. Pot 1 contains currently Australia, Japan, North Korea. Pot 2 is China, South Korea, and Vietnam. Pot 3 is Philippines, Chinese Taipei, Uzbekistan. Pot 4 is India and Bangladesh, because one of the qualification groups is still happening. And as said, Australia are A1, so they will be playing in A1 in that group. Yeah, so that's that. Yes, PSL. No, Polosh, I was not working on the PSL project. There was another one which was never publicized, which was in the conceptualizing stage. Yeah, in 2013, I never saw the day of light. Thanks to God, there's zero Minerva Academy girl in the national team. Otherwise, a guy from taking all the credit of hardworking girls. Bengal Super League, 8 new franchises, existing clubs, 8 new franchisees. So it will be district teams, district-based franchises, let's call it that. Which grassroots tournaments are the best tournament in the world? Rajal, I wouldn't be able to tell you what are the best tournaments for grassroots in the world, because I'm not a global grassroots expert, and therefore, sorry, I can't tell you that. Palash answering, Ochut says, yeah, new franchise probably, but heard there will be a franchise from Calcutta. Yeah, there will be a franchise from Kolkata as well, but as planned, if I understand it right, these will be 8 franchisees who will be playing in others. The number of Chandra Shen propagandists on internet is insane, says Hannibal. And Aditya says, I really do not think Chandra Shen should be chosen. He's a conservative. Plus, how much good he is for the Indian national team. I don't think we will improve under his coaching presence. Okay, Aditya. Next target coming qualifying for AFC U20 Asian or AFC U20. AFC Women's U20 Asian Cup, which also serves as a qualification U20 Women's World Cup, and in September qualifying for U20 U23 Asian Cup. Let's do it as more as we can. Yeah, let's see what we can do. Top 2 teams from each group will qualify direct World Cup, and 2 third best teams will go for intercontinental playoffs. Yes, Hannibal, that's the plan. Considering AIFF's financial situation, Jonathan looks like a possibility. I don't think so, Polash. I think if I look at the criteria, and I can read you the AIFF criteria for a national coach. Just one second, let me find that document. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, Sorry, let me just one second. Give me just 1 second. One second. There was this clause which I'd read. I can't find it at the moment. You have to have a certain level. International coaching experience. So that's an interesting one. Today on Reddit, I saw hilarious irony, a person commenting, if you want to be Kollan, don't be Kollan Chobe. Be like Manisha Kalyan. Like that comment very much, says Shanlata. Nice one. When will Next Gen Cup will happen this time? FSTL issue with the AIFF also stop this tournament. No, it was not the AIFF FSTL issue which stopped it. It was India versus Pakistan because it was supposed to happen in May. I'm not even sure if it's still on the calendar or if it's to me it looks like it's off the calendar. So yeah. Let's see which coaches and how many submit the application till 13th July, says Ranata. You said you don't believe in an Indian coach. Look at them now. They've made it to the AFC. Tech, yeah. Crispin made it. But I think in the men's game, it's a little different. And I still believe in foreign coaches more. So, period. People on India are wild. I was banned for critiquing Manolo and clashing with Mohan Bagan fans, says Aditya. Okay. Hope the matches actually happen in respective districts and not just Kolkata suburbs. That's going to be the question. Ochud, very good. Can AIFF really pull off a good coach within their budget? Well, that's the whole question. So that's the whole question about the AIFF at this moment in time is like, what kind of coach, how coach, are you, who you're going to bring in, who fits overall what you want, what you need. That's going to be the question. Do you really think the AIFF will arrange good friendlies for women and make their preparations best for AFC Women's Asian Cup? Shanlata, I don't know. If you had asked me this in the past, under the old AIFF, I would have said yes, because I know they did it, right? Under 17 boys and even the girls, they did those preparations. So therefore, and now it's a question of money. It's a simple question of money. And is the government going to support? I think that's a big question in my opinion. At the moment, we've seen the sports minister congratulating him, but I've not seen anything from the prime minister. I don't know if anyone has seen it. I've not seen it from other politicians and other things. I'm actually shocked, to say the least, that this has not been really given the respect which I feel the Indian women's national team deserve for this achievement, right? Sanjay Sin having zero experience outside Bengal, if I'm not wrong. He has outside experience. He was part of the India under 16, so that would count, I guess. Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see. There's this coach who has good SAF and Asian experience, has won SAF Cup with Maldives and also has multiple Gmail. I'm currently searching his name. Yeah, you mentioned it, Peter Segat, German Croatian. I don't know. Let's wait and see if Peter applies or not. If AIFF have to spend all their money, even if they have to sell their building, it's worth it if we qualify for World Cup from the best preparation of spending that money. Shanlata, that sounds so easy, no? That sounds really so easy because the AIFF, yes, should be spending whatever it can for the best kind of preparations, but it also has to take care of the rest of Indian football, right? I was part of currently the women's Euros is happening, so I was part of a discussion this morning with someone here from our regional federation who does girls football development, and they were talking, what impact women's football, girls football has at the moment. So therefore, women's football, with all the push that's been getting in most parts of the world, it still does get street motherly treatment. That's reality, right? Maybe the US is an exception, maybe here and there some other countries, but to me, we have to be realistic what the AIFF can do. Spending money is one thing, but can they organize what is needed? That's going to be my question. India #1 doping, and we're bidding for Olympics. Says Mac, okay. I want AIFF to do something like that. U70 team, just imagine Indian women's national team practicing together in Japan, Germany, so maybe Australia, but that won't happen. Okay, Panash. Probably there is a government criteria where they bear half of the coach's salary. Don't know the exact details. What should we fallen off the radar in regard to, so therefore, I don't know if they're gonna support us on the coaches front. So have you gone through the new sports policy framework? Seems promising this time. See, the sports policy on certain fronts sounds promising, but it's still very, very vague. It's like interacting, the question is, diaspora, so therefore, I'm not sure if the sports policy is really that promising. The implementation part, we fail in the implementation part. The policy might be nice. The Indian football schedule till November is packed. August, ACL men and women's qualifiers, U20 women's. September 23 men's and futsal qualifiers. October, November national team matches, which are useless. Yeah, the schedule is packed. Bangladesh women's landed in Dhaka at 1:30 am. Lots of people at the adjoining amphitheater and a wonderful reception because some of them flew out today for Bhutanese League. Yeah, our women arrived in Delhi, and at least the AIFF welcomed them back in style. So that was nice to see. That is something. So therefore, that's it. So you don't apply anywhere. In fact, you're approached. Why do you think Peter Sagat will apply for India? I think AIFF should approach him. Aditya, that's not the approach of the AIFS. So it's not the approach of the AIFF. And if someone like Peter Sagat wants the India job, he will have to do whatever else has to be done, and apply for the job. So yeah. Heard Islamists destroyed training camp of Bangladesh women's national team protesting against women's rights, calling it un-Islamic. Aditya, you heard. Again, I tell you guys, if you don't know something and you've heard it, you don't know it, don't put it out into the world. Would love to see Ashley Westwood in national setup, have good ISL, I-League and Asian football exposure and awareness as coach. I don't think Ashley is leaving Hong Kong, if I'm right. The sports ministry thinks that no one is aware about our politics, pathetic performance at Olympics and siding it for winning Olympics bid instead of solving issues. Bad. Yeah. Sumko Omar had his debut in the Slovak league. He was good, and when he was subbed off, the team lost 1-0. Aditya, he's playing for a team in Slovenia, and he did not play so he can't play in the Slovak league. The leagues start in late August, early September. He played a friendly against Croatians Hajduk Split, first half. So, yeah. Right? So therefore, it was a friendly, so therefore take it as it is. Any news about Constantine applying? Uchut, I've not heard anything. And again, I will not speculate on XYZ, who's applying, who has applied, who will apply, why he, she, we will apply. Let's wait and see. My big question remains, is the AIFF really in a position to have an open and fair bidding process. And therefore, yeah, we'll have to wait for that and see what happens. Slowly, but it is happening. So we're getting chance for 45 minutes in top clubs. Winner shows good signs for Indian football. Even if the players going to Europe, it's slow, it's fine, but must happen. Again, it is pre-season. It is a friendly. And pre-season and friendlies, clubs try out player. Give Som the time. Let him prove himself. And then in the winter or at the end of the season, let's see how many matches he's played in the Slovenian league. Right? So, yeah, give the boy the time. Don't get carried away. We saw that he was raw last season when he came to the ISL. He has talent, no doubt about it, but he was not the finished product, and it will take time. And this is preseason. Every minute that he's on the field, he gets to play. He gets to test himself. It's good, but he will need time. I saw Instagram regarding it. I'm never wrong in these matters. You're always wrong on these matters. Again, an Instagram reel is your source of an information? Seriously? That is a serious source for an information? It is not. And the worst thing, look at how bad you are in geography. What it is called Czechoslovakia, so who even cares? No. Slovenia is part of the former Yugoslavia. You know? Think, worst case, Google a little bit of geography before you hit out this league, that league. Well, he's not even playing a league match, guys. He played a friendly. And in a friendly, clubs try out their players. And that's important for him because this is pre-season. Maybe he can put some pressure on the number one goalkeeper. So, piano, don't get carried away, but know your things before you write down, hit it out, whatever. If you don't know, ask. Maybe I can answer you the question. Maybe someone else can answer you the question. But if you don't know, don't make such comments. What is your thought about Crispin continuing till Asian Cup? In my opinion, don't break the winning combination unless something untoward happens. Uchut, it's a big question. Because, yes, on one side, Crispin has made a huge bit of success to Indian women's football. But we all need to be honest to ourselves that the competition our women's team will face will be the toughest that these women have ever faced in their lives. And I go back to the Women's Champions League, where Urawa Red Diamonds, ladies, scored 17 goals. Right? So that is the level of difference between our football and the top football level in Asia. So the question is Crispin good enough? You know? Difficult question. So the question is what kind of exposure we can get, because we will be playing at a level which we normally do not. We're not part of the big girls club, you know, and therefore that's going to be an interesting one. More than 30 minutes. Quick reminder, if you're liking the conversation, if you are happy to be here, do leave a like behind. 13 likes so far. Thanks a lot. Share it with other people to join in our conversations. And if you are watching, enjoying it, do leave a like behind, share behind. 2,755. Thank you very much. That's the current number. So we're slowly We've crossed the 2,750 mark, small milestone again, moving towards the 3,000 mark. Let's grow the community and let's keep on chatting, talking about Indian football. Stephen Constantine applying for coach, even if it's a rumor, it makes me feel like Chetri coming forcefully from retirement just to fill demand of strikers. Same coach to save us. No, must not happen. Shanmata, let's wait and see what happens. I think, to me, in the given scenario, yeah, Stephen would know what to do. Do you think, seeing the crumbling economic situation of AIFF, some coaches will try to take advantage of it and we are again going to have a dual club country coach? I don't think it's a question of the coach. The Manolo situation was created by the AIFF, right? Because FC Goa didn't want to release the coach. So therefore, yeah, could be an option. But again, who will want to do it? Let's say if Interkashi get promoted, would a Habas do it? I don't think so, because Habas will want to focus on Interkashi, if there is. But the other question is, by the time the AIFF wants to take a decision, do we know if the ISL is going to happen or not? So therefore, these are all very, very pertinent questions. Sometimes I just enjoy other people comment here when they try and bring Insta reels and tweet stuff without fact. Again, rare, I call it out. I have, I have called it out in the past. And yeah, I don't find it funny because it's, not the right thing. Supreme Court Constitution hearing date coming, but sir, what's actual date of Supreme Court hearing the election announcement, FIFA ban coming? I don't know. Honestly, don't know what. My concern is if the Supreme Court hearing ban and all that stuff happens, do we get banned in such a bad way that the Asian Cup for our women is in jeopardy? Right? It is something which we need to keep in mind. I think no one has spoken about this. That's a danger. So, yeah, hopefully someone puts some sense. I thought Slovakia and Czech Republic were closer and called Czechoslovakia. I think I remember now Slovenia comes in the Balkans. Slovakia and Czechoslovakia, yeah, those two are. But Slovenia is a totally different country, right? And a little bit of history class from Uchud. Czechoslovakia broke into the Czech Republic and Slovakia. The former has now renamed as Czechia. Slovenia is part of the erstwhile Yugoslavia, which broke into 6-7 countries in early 1990s. Into 7-8 by now, because we've got North Macedonia on top of it. I never understood why Thomas got sacked from national team. He was doing well at the time, and AIFF never supported him in that way he wanted. He left and he came back, if we don't remember. So, yeah, he never got sacked. His contract wasn't, so for me, yeah, Denaby's proven that we can dream of a higher level. Thomas has taken us to a different level with that team at that time. So the question is, yeah, we need. I feel if we want to succeed and get to the World Cup, we need someone like a Denaby character. Hi Kumar, welcome back. Well, now, according to you, who should be the next coach? Shin Tae-yong or Steven would be better suited for India if you consider these two names. Vishwajit, Shin Tae-yong is not even in the running. He is involved in Korea. Steven, yes, Steven should be thought about. And, but again, I would bring in someone new. I would bring in someone new with that level of international experience, someone who, so that's the point. Just recall from Renu's comment, we cannot afford a FIFA ban now. Yeah, what should? That's a fear which I have in the back of my mind. Why wasn't Crispin Chitri shown as the coach during the qualifiers? Or was that woman coach shown as a coach on papers? Hannibal, it's a good question. I don't know why. Actually, it's a question I wanted to ask. Haven't asked actually. I have to ask Crispin once about that. And how about that? Do you, Anthony, former East Bengal coach and current Imam East Bengal coach, should take over the women's Indian women's team after completion of this AFC Asian Cup to a cycle or before that from Crispin? Kumar, I'm not even thinking about what happens post the next year's Asian Cup. Maybe if therefore, I don't know. Anthony Andrews has done a very good job. He's going to stay at East Bengal. He has an AFC Women's Champions League to play. So therefore, for me, that question doesn't arise. Guys, do not assume anything or do not consume any social media news regarding IS and all. Time Supreme Court hearing caused so-called content creators getting attention, ban views because of this. Yeah, and views. Yeah, that's why I say, as long as there's no clarity on things, we don't know what's going to happen, right? So for me, at this moment in time, as I speak to you on the 7th of July, 2025, at this moment, yes, it is 18:53 here in Germany. It is 10:23 p.m. in India. There is no ISL. Is that fine? No. Can the league happen? Yes. Might it not happen? Also yes. Nobody knows. Anybody's telling you, oh, the preparations are done, oh, the scheduling is done. None of it has been done. Anybody who's telling you that is speculating, or worst case is even lying. People are not working on anything. Everything is on hold. Even the clubs more and more have stopped it. The Duran Cup indirectly has forced a few teams to commit to playing in it because some of the teams are based in the places where they're playing. Otherwise, even more teams would have not played, right? This is the state of Indian football in the year 2025 as I speak, right? It might be that the Duran Cup is the one and only tournament which is played at the top level. That's a danger. And if I or you or whoever wants to accept it or not, that's reality. European microstates. Aditya, they are not European microstates. They're quite sizable states. I took your reply late about my grassroots question as a follow-up. Surely it's not the one that he claims to be, is it? Because he says that the four tournaments I was playing are the best four. No, of course not. I know there are at least two better tournaments in Germany, right? I know of them. And so there are a lot of them in the US. There are good tournaments across Europe. They're Scandinavian level. Scandinavia used to be, these kind of things good because they used to do these summer tournaments, but they're not the best in the world, and they're grassroots, right? Do you understand what grassroots means? Grassroots means kids who play for fun in the park, nothing more, nothing less, right? You met Stephen, convinced in 2002 to come and coach the Indian national team. He came again later, but it was you who were first approached, so maybe he needs to approach Peter Sagat. Aditya, we're talking about different times. I think you guys assume things that they work in a certain way, and yeah, this will happen, that will happen. Yeah, so again, 2001, 2002, when these conversations were happening, things were different, right? And now things are different. The AIFF has gone the way it is, and the AIFF is not going to go out and do stuff because they're not in a position. Completely agree with you. Asian Cup will be very tough. Some of the teams are also globally strong. Australia, North Korea, Japan, China. Yeah. I mean, especially North Korea, Japan, South Korea, China, Australia. You're mentioning them, right? And we're likely to face two of them. And on a good day, we can concede 7 to 10 against them. On a bad day, I think I talked Champions League, 17, right? So therefore, we need to go guess, I think AIFF should do an emergency for the future of women's team. Rhythm, yes, yeah. But the question is, do they have the budgets? Do they have the authority to now plan something? I don't know. Not just, Crispin, what's the role of Santosh Kashyap, if I'm not wrong, recently declared as main coach of the women's team? Generally, he was there last year for a certain period of time. It didn't work out. We had Joachimson then after that, right? He was trying to keep it together. We had someone else in between. So yeah, we've had quite a few coaches in the recent past. One thing is also about Indian football, they never learned lesson. Oh, Murali, there are a lot of things which annoy me, but again, it's not for a public discussion. I think the amateur approach in Indian football is, I think, the biggest thing that annoys me in Indian football. The amateur approach, and people think they know and have no clue. That annoys me the most, if you ask me. Chelsea going to play semi-final. Yeah, we have gone up to the semi-final phase. Now with the AIFF new constitution cases from Supreme Court verdict, which will come if FIFA bans come will direct to new sports tribunal which will be formed. What's your timeline, Kumar? When do you think the new sports tribunal will be ready to look into the matter? We've seen a sports bill. People have gone gaga on a sports bill, right? It's a bill which has not been tabled in Parliament, right? And if a FIFA ban comes, that's where the government will have to get involved, right? Because Supreme Court has overstepped and installed a wrong constitution. But do we have the right people to be involved in a sports tribunal? That's another question. Guess that's why Minerva is beating them 5-0, 7. Pranjal, we are playing an academy which claims to be one of the best in India against kids who are part-timers, right? If they play with proper youth teams over there, they will get beaten, even in Scandinavia. I mean, I've worked in Norway, so I know the quality over there, right? A little bit. Reality. Your thoughts on people who say we lack budget and resources? We actually don't. We have a problem of how we allocate the budgets. That is our biggest problem, Murali. Hope Chelsea win the FIFA Club World Cup with quite youngsters. Quote, says Gearon Rare. Any instance you felt leadership who controls Indian football has no idea whatsoever how it functions? Yeah, Murali, at the moment. AIFF has to do something like the 2017 U17 preparations, otherwise you will perform poorly simply because others are far superior. Uchu, that's a bare minimum, I would say. Yeah. But I know that we had as the AIFF, we got the support, especially from the German DFB. Nicola Adam came over, other things happened. So therefore, these are things which happened at the time, which enabled the AIFF to do a lot of things and again, spend a lot of time here in Germany. And the question, the AIFF doesn't have those relationships at the moment. I mean, who do they go to and say, listen, can you help us with this? This is the closest we have been to qualifying in World Cup in the next 5 matches. 2 draws, 1 draw, 2 losses, and we're in. Pranjal, we were this close in 2022, right? We were the hosts of the AFC Women's Asian Cup, right? We were given an easy group because we were heading one of those groups. And getting to the quarterfinals in 2022 should have been the most normal thing for us, right? We didn't do it. So no, this is not the closest we've been to qualifying. We were closer than this in 2022, right? You know about Santosh Kashyap's YouTube channel? He now regularly uploads videos nowadays. I've heard about it, but I've not seen any of his videos. Then what are they going to? Nothing after qualifying? Rhythm, the question is what kind of planning? Again, it's the AIFF at the moment. Look at the mess that the AIFF finds itself in, right? In generally, forget, the women have succeeded despite of the support of the AIFF. Let me be very clear. This success is the success of these footballers, of these individuals. This is not the success of the AIFF, whatever the AIFF say, right? I go back, I said it yesterday. This success is a success of each of these players. And there are great stories behind this, And this is going to be, if they had or speak to the right people outside of India and figure out who can help us in the short term. This could also be a conversation to raise the topic of OCIs for the women's national team. It could be worth a conversation with the government to push that agenda and say, listen, if we get 4 or 5 OCIs, maybe we can actually ensure qualification for the Women's World Cup, right? Why in Kolkata media long so-called reputed journalists are all are silent on the current AIFF situation? Instead, they're joyfully doing transfer news of Mohun Bagan, Super Giant East Bengal, but technically no pen and paper done. Bishwajit, because that is what the fans want. I could tomorrow do let's say I do a weekly update on Indian football in Bengali, which certain people have suggested me to do. Maybe I'll do it actually. No one wants to talk, about FSDL AIFF situation. If you listen to the understanding the people have of the situation, then they don't understand what the problem is, because they don't understand constitutional governance things. And how many players in the end that they have linked to Mohun Bagan and to East Bengal? I mean, last year they even had Mohammedan in the discussion, but this year they don't even have Mohammedan in the discussion. What's happening? Right? The transfer market de facto is dead. They're keeping it alive while talking and speaking and writing about it. The transfer market at this moment in Indian football is dead because no one knows what the future holds. That is a sad reality as I speak to all of you. Does AIFF really doesn't have any money for doing the daily course? Hannibal, no, I don't. At the moment, they still have, but I don't know if they have, going down the weeks and months, right? And that's the question we need to be talking about. Where do you think our court gone wrong in handling sports issue compared to CAS? Morally, they got involved in matters which are not their matters. They should have not touched the matter, right? They should have said it is a matter of governance, get experienced sports law people, get governance experienced people, and create a constitution which is according to global sports. Very simple. And FIFA will tell you, you know what? The AIFF constitution actually in the current form is right. It's correct. There needs to be no changes made. Do you think people who do not get sufficient time in playing pitch, how come they perform at top level? Because they have quality. Quality players will shine, period. And some people, look at the India-Thailand game. It is not always about being the best player. It is about passion, fight, grit, wanting to win. That is, see this picture. Look at the women below winning, and on top, the men before they lost to Hong Kong. Right? So just see, even though it's different, of course, but the body language shows. If people think fixing AIFF will fix Indian football problem, then we are wrong. The local state district are way corrupt. Trevor, corruption is one issue, but the lack of quality is, I think, a bigger issue for me than even corruption. I mean, corruption persists around the world. If I, you, or whoever likes it or not, be it in football, sports, yeah, it's there, right? But we have problems across the system, be it the clubs, be it the academies, the coaches. Right? But hey, in your concept, who's the best for next men Indian football coach? After, to me, someone, I don't have a name in mind who can throw in and who most probably would fit into the AIFF budget. I would have a few, but I would think someone, a foreign coach with 5, 7, maybe even 10 years of international experience of coaching a national team, of having also coached difficult teams, in difficult circumstances. That's what I would take. Why I feel India will never be good in football. We'll live on hype. A player scores fluke goal, we make star, women qualification cup, like we won World Cup. Ground reality different. To me, I think let's celebrate this, right? I agree with you on that fluke goal part. That happens far too often in Indian club football, at least in the men's game. But to me, the main thing is because we're not willing to wait for something to be built. We want it to happen instantly. That's the problem. After getting help from government hosting FIFA U17 World Cup, AFC Asian Cup, still AIFF never took things seriously, and it results in financial helps cuts from government. Meanwhile, other sports federation done well. I don't agree on that, Garen. I think that the government also got value for supporting the FIFA under 17 World Cups, not even World Cup, but World Cups, and the AIFF got value to it. If you see, with the issues we have with quality and all that stuff that we talk about. But we still get something out of it, right? I don't see that there is nothing, and a lot of people claim there is nothing, this and everything. I don't agree to that. I think there have been. I think especially the infrastructure part has developed quite a bit because of the under 17 World Cup. Even I remember there's a video still on my channel which I had posted and which I actually passed on to my friends at FIFA and said, listen, this is the state of the stadium in Bengal, which was the Salt Lake Stadium, and 6 months later it's supposed to host the World Cup. What do you think? And I remember they got in touch because of that. So therefore, a lot of things have happened, and yeah. But what happened in the AIFF with the elections is something. With the Supreme Court and with other things which happened, that is something which you and I can't change. Who is Santosh Kashyap? Santosh is a former footballer, then long-time youth coach at Mahindra United, and then coached especially in Mumbai, but then also in other places. And then last year before, Santosh for a certain period of time was also the coach of the Indian women's team. Only saw one mainstream TV media report yesterday. Okay, which one was it, Uchud? If you could let me know. China has best academy at bad. So is Qatar, which has aspired. They are bad because all they play China and Qatar and not Europe. So I feel OCI is only solution, no grassroots or academy help. I don't think. It's too simplified. In my opinion, it doesn't really get to the core of the problem. China doesn't have the best academies. I think still the best academies will be in Europe and the US. China has good infrastructure. Yes, they do. But there are other issues. Aspire is a world-class facility, has good coaches. But these two countries are not purely focused on football, right? The Chinese are the leaders in the medal tally in the Olympics. So they've shown that they can be successful. Qatar has also had success with athletes in different sports. So therefore, these are things which are realities. And yeah, and OCI, I agree with you. OCIs will make us better, but the question is, when will the government really come forward and take that decision, which is needed? Sorry, this is something which is on the government. So when will the group be decided? 29th of July is the draw of the AFC Women's Asian Cup 2026 in Australia. Out of topic question, how does see people assert money is success in sports? I don't know, man. Money is, see, you need money to be in professional sports, right? At the top level, if you don't have the financial means and capabilities, you will not be able to be successful. That's, if I like it, you like it, anyone likes it, that's a fact. Do you think majority of Europe club own Middle East country, even PSG have strong presence? Do you think majority of Europe club own Middle East country? PSG have a strong presence, yeah, surely. They're a big club in France, in Europe. But they also have a presence in Qatar who own them. OCI is a solution for 5 to 6 years to improve quality and gaining good experience against more tough teams. And meanwhile, with this, we can go ahead with long vision with improving grassroots interest. No, I think that if you want the OCI thing to work, it will be a long-term project. Because even if you have a long-term vision, what's your long-term vision? If your long-term vision, you're talking about 5, 7, 10 years as a time frame. In Indian context, a long-term time frame, in my opinion, if you ask me my humble opinion, is most probably 25, 30 years. When women missed the bronze in field hockey at the 2020 Olympics, they were celebrated individual stories on national TV. And remember, even win a medal, what is being done now? It's shameful. It shows the apathy towards football at the moment in an Indian media context. It's a tragedy. In my opinion, it's a tragedy because this success that we have had in Thailand on Saturday is one of the biggest success of Indian women's sport ever, right? Are Thailand superior than us, especially women gain real destination cup? Morally, yes, I'll be honest, I thought the Thais were better overall than us, yes. But we won, period. A team who is better, isn't that the charm of football, that a team who is actually better than you, then you can beat them? Yeah. But do I care? No, I don't. We won, period. Good evening, Simon. Welcome back. Or now, don't you think we have real chances of qualifying for World Cup? Just need to win 2 games, one in group stage, 1 draw, enough to finish best third place, then into quarterfinals where we lose and win play in XYZ. You know, you're doing exactly what a typical Indian does, and which is what you are in a theoretical way trying to work out something. Football, sports doesn't work that way. You have to win matches. And look at the group. Do you think that we for us, if we get, I told you, guys, I'll repeat it again. Pot 1, Australia, Japan, North Korea. You think we're going to beat any one of them? Right? China, South Korea, Vietnam. You think you're going to get anything out of those? Just think. Yeah. And then we've got Philippines, Chinese Taipei, and Uzbekistan. Philippines, Uzbekistan, we just lost. So even for me, we are back to square one. Looking at this, I look at the men's Asian Cup as well last year. You're talking about a win and a draw? Let's score a goal first and let's get a point first. We are getting way, way ahead of us, right? I still don't understand why are clubs spending so much money. The senior team, rather than investing grassroots and academy, still baffles in NFL. Yeah, Trevor, it's been a problem. It's a lot of people say no, it's an ISL problem and this has happened, that has happened. No, this has been a problem which has been around in donkey's years, right? I mean, that's the reality we don't want to talk about, that this problem of spending too much money on your players has been a problem since the NFL started in 1996. Should India try to host one Women World Cup? Again, rare. Why not? Yeah, but for me, if you ask me logically, the next step would be to talk to FIFA and say, listen, we want to host an under-20 World Cup, men's or women's, doesn't matter. Women's football is one big positive. We shouldn't let this once in a lifetime opportunity. I could totally agree, right? So yeah, India today. Okay, first, no, Simon. I don't. First post is a print version. Uchud was talking earlier about a television channel, and guess Achta covered the issue successfully. Okay, that's good to hear. When we look at the ground of England and Germany television, it looks like graphics and visual effects are real, but we don't get same in Indian state. No, of course it's real. That is real. That is not visual effect. Yeah, because you have to also look at weather conditions. The grounds in the US during the FIFA Club World Cup are not to European standards. Most European teams are complaining. Don't know if this is true. Pakistan women had team loaded with origin players but suffered heavy defeats. Proves that not all OCIs will be good, but a trial is must. Uchud, I don't think it's a true picture. One second, let me just go through the list. The problem with Pakistan is that Pakistan and its structure. I mean, we complain about our structure and we don't have this, we don't have that. It's a problem, right? Pakistan had, let me see, two players from the US. One, Leila Benares, is from Birmingham City. You had one, Maria Khan is playing now in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh. Then you've got Amina Hanif, Sana Mehdi, Aswa Chaudhary. They're all 18, 19, 20. So they're very, very young, right? Ashka Mushtaq is most probably the most experienced, 26, playing for Ofi Crete, the Gulf of Standard. So therefore, do not make the comparison of ours with theirs, because Pakistan football has its own sets of problems. I think it's better for us to compare it maybe with Bangladesh. I think Bangladesh, if they're going to get 2 or 3 of their overseas girls, that will strengthen them massively. Nicely clearly told Ali that sort out your mess, also drastically increase your performance at Olympics. I think this will force government to allow OCI players. XYZ, let's see. I have been reading as if 2036 is decided, India's going to host it, right? It feels like to me that the government has sort of, convinced everybody, hey, we're doing this, right? But outside of India, nobody seems to know that fact, right? I met people last week who were involved in the IOC and they didn't even know that India went to Lausanne and everything, right? Any update? Morally, that's still 3 years, 4 years away from a decision being made. People need to understand we have 15, 16 million strong Indian diaspora, who also have strong Indian origin athletes supply every time, also add the many persons of origin to that. Yeah, but the diaspora is not your thing, no? In the so-called diaspora, I think the origin athletes are the question that we need to look at. We're not realizing India's actually ousted Thailand from the Women's World Cup. They regularly qualified. True, but I think we also need to realize that Thailand were regulars in the Women's Asian Cup, right? Asian Women's Cup. They've been, so yeah. I don't believe in 2047 vision. We need more time to improve the quality of football. We create actor robots football. Again, rare. That is a PR document. Let's not get into it. Japan is best example on how to improve, but their culture of hard work is what we don't have. Their best players will be humble, meanwhile our players, even if play at state level, act like stars. Very well said. Very, very well said. I always say, I've had the pleasure of interacting with Japanese footballers. Even yesterday, for example, FC Remscheid here, my local club, 6th division, new signing, a Japanese guy, very, very, very humble, right? He's come to play football in Germany, very humble guy, speaks little English, no German nearly. And that's the way they are. But they're also good in their organization and their structure. So therefore, Japan, when they plan, organize something, they will have success, right? That is the biggest difference between them and us, and we cannot copy that. What is the most easiest group for us? Let me check. What is the easiest group? Australia, most probably the host, because Japan, North Korea is on a normal day a double-digit loss. And if we look at our team today, what we played against Thailand, if we play that level of football, double digits. Let's be honest about it, right? We are talking about how to get well. Australia, yeah, maybe, but again, even that is too strong. Pot 2, China, South Korea, forget them. Vietnam, by far the weakest, yes. And in pot 3, Philippines, Chinese Taipei, we just lost to Uzbekistan twice at home. Is it Australia, Vietnam, Chinese Taipei? I'm not going by rankings. I'm going by how I rate the teams. That would be most probably the weakest one. Yeah. We have Jugaad mentality. It might work in cricket where competition is less, but not in other sports, even if sort everything right now, then also take at least 20 years to show results. 100% agree. If we draw any match in Asian Cup is a miracle, yes. At the moment, morally, I would say that. I can't convince myself the AIFF would not mess up our preparations for the Asian Cup. Simon, yeah. Fact, Indians living outside India do care more about our football than the Indians living in India. I can't disagree with that, given where I add myself to the club. Is Chinese Taipei and Philippines women team Thailand Indian level, or they are undefeatable? Hannibal, they, it's not undefeatable, but the problem is that Philippines has a lot of origin players. They're mainly made up of a US college team. Province, if I look at, let me look at the Philippines squad. How many overseas players do they have currently? 1 second, let me check that. Let me just check that. One second. So they have one girl playing at Ipswich Town, one in the US, one in Canada, one other US, one in Sweden, right? So the Ike, Stockholm. You have Sophie Harrison Wunsch, who's from the US, another from the US, 2 from Canada, someone's playing in Australia, 2 more in the US, 1 more US, someone playing in Norway, 2 more US, and then those who are not even playing, yeah. I mean, they could build a whole team of overseas players. So that's that. And then if we look at Chinese Taipei or Taiwan, whatever we want to call them, right? Yeah, they are actually all, one is playing in Japan, and one is actually playing in China, but they've got this Chaichung Blue Whale, no? Which is a good team. So therefore, these are not easy teams to beat. Again, everyone dreaming about the World Cup, we're getting ahead of ourselves. If we don't do the right things in the next 8-9 months, yeah, I don't want to be sounding, the warning signs are there. Pakistan coach in first game played a horrible lineup, striker as a centre back, many players out of position. That's why they lost with big margin. Okay. And North Korea would smack us let's first score against teams of that kind of Asian Cup. Exactly. So that's Simon, that's my fear. If we are at the level we were in these qualifiers, double-digit defeats, right? What is men's football viewership versus women's football viewership? Nixon, I don't have numbers, but they will be X times more. X times more. We are thinking that we'll easily qualify in Women's World Cup, but come to reality, it's not easy. Look, the teams, if we look the last match, God is there with us. That's why we qualify, sorry to say. Traderwala, I have to fully agree with you. The problem of the Indian football fan is, when he's on an up, right? The Indian football fan goes to the next level and, wants to dream. We're not there, So, yeah. As I've been looking at some Nepali women football, most of them play abroad. Angela, the goalkeeper, is in Sporting Lisbon. Why is Manisha only playing abroad right now? Rohan, because there is not much of a demand for our players. And secondly, some of them have come back and signed better deals in the IWL than they have had in Europe. Right? That's also reality. On paper, we're the weakest of the 12 teams. Yes, because the rankings of Bangladesh makes no sense. Bangladesh will beat us on any day. That's our problem. So therefore, yes, Ochut, 100%, we are the weakest team. So all those who are dreaming already of qualifying, oh, we need to win this one. Oh, we then draw and then blah, 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 and then win. We're not even close. In 2022, we were in the same situation. And the 2022 Indian women's national team squad was much stronger than the current one. Right? That this one has qualified is great, is brilliant, but we have to be real, we have to be realistic, we have to be honest that the Women's World Cup, a FIFA Women's World Cup qualification, is as far away as it can be, right? In 2022, it was actually realistic. Is Indian government going to allow dual citizenship? Sandeep, it's not clear. We'll have to wait and see. Australia-China women team improved drastically over the years. Morally, China has been a top team. They were one of the top 2-3 teams in the world in the past. You know what we should do? A friendly with Nepal, then we will realize how resilient is this team. Yeah. If we play Nepal and Bangladesh, we're going to lose on a normal day. Right? That is the reality. So, friendlies against those teams will make sense. We played Uzbekistan twice. We were in shambles. I would say North Korea, Vietnam, Chinese Taipei is more favorable for us. XYZ, as I said, people ask me. If they ask you, you will say this. If you ask a third person, that person will say that. We will have different opinions on this. One thing I don't understand, how is North Korea so good in football? They basically live in prison with no contact with the outside world. Their population is less. I don't know. They are the current under 17 and under 20 FIFA Women's World Champions. Forget qualifying for those tournaments. They are world champions, right? They're on a different level. So therefore, for me, why? I don't know. I think 2010, they played even the Men's World Cup. Nobody knows how they got into those in the tournament in South Africa, but they were there. So these are all realities, and yeah. Philippines just qualified for the 23 Women's World Cup. They even defeated New Zealand. Yeah, Simon, they're on a different level. People cursing ISL always, but biggest thing, ISL gave us better infrastructure and good foreigners. And if I-League fashion continues, we'll be like Maldives. Yeah, even Maldives might be better if we continue with the I-League. Are any Indian origin women footballers interested in playing for India? Yes, Hannibal, they would be. I've had conversations about that in the past as well with the AIFF. Again, remember that match against Brazil, we were nowhere near that. Yeah. We are nowhere near that. Yeah. Very good example. That is one of, even it was for 15, 20 minutes. We were playing with Brazil football. Forget women's or men's. India was playing an international game against Brazil. We equalized and we played a good game of football. Thomas Dennerby, 3.5 years ago. Does the AIFF have the money to prepare for AFC Women's Asian Cup? Trevor? Very good question. If I look at the current scenario, if there's no support from government or from the corporate world, I am honestly disappointed. I don't think they have. And then they throw around with those $50,000. Be it the men's, be it the, I mean, think about the men's, women winning that game against Hong Kong, and then the women's winning. You would be $100,000 down. You would have spent about more than 80 lakhs on this. Why is North Korea so good, Ranchal? I honestly don't know. They must be doing something right in their system, because otherwise, men's and women's, they're so good. Simon said, was the AIFF who messed up our preparation for the 2022 AFC Women's Asian Cup of momentum we had built prior to. Remember that one goal we scored at 6-1 defeat to Brazil. That was the best team by far. Yeah, it was good, but it is not the AIFF who messed it up. There are other reasons, but again, it is, yeah. Cash-strapped AIFF giving cash prize to footballers, that type of smart guys who have an AIFF thinking that money has to come from somewhere, right? So what, we are destroying youth or men's? Nixon is not destroying youth or men's. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know where that money is coming from. So no effort for making focus. No, it's not. It's never been. No? The AIFF has lived off 50 crores of reliance over the last 15 years. The consistency seems to, like schoolgirls, and then a tad better now. How can the standards swing so drastically within a few days? We also need good sports psychologists for these girls. Uchut, I don't know if we didn't take those friendlies seriously, but I think that Mongolia, again, I think the scheduling helped us. The scheduling helped us perfectly. We played the weakest team in the first game, to weak teams in the second and third, and we played the strongest in the third. But then in the fourth, and then the confidence level was there. So therefore, I think that if we had played Thailand first, I'm not sure if we would have gone to the Asian Cup. I think the scheduling in the way it was helped us. What's the new Swede Alexanderson doing for the women's U20s? Sam is working with them for the qualifiers. You know. So let's see what he can do. Yes, sir, but we were the only ones who were severely affected by the COVID outbreak, had to withdraw from our own tournament. Yes, but that COVID outbreak was not the fault of the AIFF. Let me just keep it at that. Who, according to you, might AIFF select as a coach, considering its history of making poor hiring decisions? Top 10 Prime TV, I have no clue. I've said that multiple times in the last few days. As long as it is not Chandra Sen or Khalid Jamil or an Indian, I would be happy with it. But I'm not sure what the AIFF is going to do. I think nobody knows what the AIFF is going to do on this one. So we'll have to wait and see. What I've said today again, and what I've been saying now for a while, for me, it would be very, very important if we can sign someone with international experience, someone who has worked minimum 5, ideally 7, 10 more years in international as an international head coach, has worked in difficult conditions, and has handled difficult conditions and difficult federations. Those would be my criteria, and has brought some results, has brought some development results, would be something, someone, and yeah, good understanding and a good reading of the game. I think those are things that I would look at. Right. 80 minutes or 1 hour 20 minutes so far. Quick reminder, if you're liking the conversation, if you're liking what we're talking about, leave a like behind. 24 likes so far. Thank you very much. Share with other people to join in our conversations, and help to grow the community. We're at 2,759 at this moment. Thank you very, very much. Crossed the 2,750 mark yesterday. Let's keep on growing the community. And if you're new, if you want to ask questions, queries, become a subscriber, ask your questions in these lives. I try and answer everybody's question. So that's that. And of course, quick reminder, I do make short videos every day about mainly an Indian football related topic. And yeah, do watch those videos. I made something earlier today in regard to that. The AIFF recognizes the Indian women's national team success. Last few days, a few on those as well. Made a video a few days ago on the South Asian footballers to play as locals in India. I know Marcus no longer India coach, national sports policy. Looking back at that Lal Modi episode in the 2000s, yesterday I said, or day before I also said, look up my video with Anthony Andrews, who talks about some of the shortcomings in the women's IWL. Very interesting in the context of what has happened here. My Ravi Pushkar interview, Trichit Das from Interkashi a few weeks ago. So do watch those things. And yeah, thanks a lot as always for your support. How was USA so good in women's football and couldn't replicate the same for the men's? Simon, very simply, the competition in the women's game is much less than in the men's. Simple. Kielna latest post says Antonio Habas applied for national team coach role. Maybe he has, maybe he has not. I don't know. Where do you see women's team in the next 5 years with current confidence? Ajmal, I would hope we are regular in the AFC Women's AFC Women's Asian Cup. That is what I would like us to see. Women's World Cup is a dream. Yeah, 2027, 2031. But for me, 2026, tick mark, 2030 is a must. And nothing more, nothing less. Is Thomas Deneby back in Sweden, or is he working on a new project? Simon, I honestly don't know where Thomas Deneby is. As far as I remember, he was back in Sweden. If you want to give a good quality of football in Asia Cup, then AIFF have to give long camp and more matches and a good setup team, so at least we can match the level of other teams. Srinivada, I can tell you this, we will not be able to match the quality of the best, in the Women's Asian Cup. That's a fact. If I like it or not, that's a fact. If we can, again, those nations play top level football in the world. But yes, you're right. Longer camp, yes. Good exposure, yes. And that has to be then also outside of India. Arun fans, show us power. Thanks, Murali. What's the women's team doing differently that has brought them success in recent times? Top 10 Prime TV, very simply, they've shown passion, pride, grit, fighting spirit, which the men's haven't shown. Because Thailand, to me, football-wise, are better than, or were better than us. But we still beat them. So that is the small little difference that you see in that team compared to the men's. Can you name top 10 eligible also as per you, only top level who can make us best? I think I could name you 20, 30 players. They could make a full OCI national team and we would be better. Yeah. Who do we talk? We talk about Danny Bath. We talk about Jan Danda, Dylan Markande, Arjun Raikni, Shan Hundal, Harpreet Gotra, Lakshmikant in Portugal. The list goes on and on and on. Young Jeevan Badwal in Canada. Most probably he'll play in Canada soon. So those are the kind of players we have. Podcast ceremony. I've been doing this. Hey, Blue. Yeah, Blue. Let's not get into that. Khalid, Sanjay, Shankalal. Among those three, who's better choice for India job? Vishwajit, I am better than all three of them together. That is my trust in these guys. So, I feel like AIFF can make an Indian the head coach because right now, after Women's Asian Cup qualification, everyone wants an Indian coach. So just make them happy and to save money, They might try that. I don't know where you come. Sorry, but how is that logical? Well, how does that make sense? To me, makes no sense at all. We never World Cup batch hyper real, at least Asian level good. No, they're not even Indian level good. So how can they be Asian level good? Can we expect something from that sports policy thing, or is it just another piece of Simon? It's a policy. It has to be put into bill and then has to put into action. As long as implementation is not done, is as you say, it is BS. Don't you think now is the best time to give all the support to women's teams since the Arab teams are just catching up and we will have best chance to qualify? Trevor, where is the best chance to qualify? You know, I've just tried to explain it. I mean, if you like it or not, this is where we stand. If we don't do the right things, we will suffer double-digit defeats. That is again, I go back to AFC Women's Champions League, right? That's my concern. Yeah. So so therefore, yeah, that's the danger, right? Odisha lost last October 17-0 to Urawa Red Diamonds ladies. The Calcutta Football League situation is absolute dire. No ambulance using umbrella stabilizer. Blue, there are two sides to the story. Failure of the IFA, yes. But I give the credit to the doctor to somehow use something to stabilize that player's foot. Yeah. Does Gothia Cup hold any international significance, like good exposure competition environment for our boys? No. It's a grassroots football tournament played in the summer. It's for European teams who are playing, for most of them. It's a nice few days out in Sweden or other tournaments elsewhere, right? Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, whatever those tournaments are. It's a summer. Yeah, the environment is good, yes. Competition might be nice, but are there, and some or the other world stars might have played in it. People say Uzbekistan's success is recent, but they won Asian Games gold in their first few matches. They always had Soviet Union football blood running deep in them. Hannibal, people don't seem to know things and just say things. A lot of people are creating, again, that ranking comparison between India and Uzbekistan. To me, is a joke. We were never as good as Uzbekistan, right? And the reality is in the men's game. And in the women's game, look at the ranking. Wait. Bangladesh is 128. We are 70. And Bangladesh has beaten us regularly in the last few years. Yeah. So therefore, take rankings with a pinch of salt. Player covered with tapes and legs supported by wet umbrellas, that actual side of Bengal football. Yeah, but yeah. Match the level means I want to say that in every match, at least we concede less than 5 goals. That already will be a challenge, right? And if we can do that, I would buy it. Against the big teams, I would take it. You know, if you ask me, Tredawala, I would take that because the level of these teams, different level. Sorry, quickly, just a sip of water from my side. Kalma, Indian football fans, stop being the Lulu and push for the Sululu. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's hard. Simon, we have done something which, if I believe friends of mine who work generally in Asian football, has come as a big shock, a big surprise. That India beat Thailand is an upset, right? But we also know, at least I try to tell you what the realities are in our football, where we stand, where we are at this moment in time. And therefore, for me, I say I celebrate this success, you know? So to me, That's very important. Yeah, but I don't think except Big Three and probably Diamond Harbour FC, most teams have any doctor either lucky in a way with the fixture. Yeah, that's very true. Blue. Am I going to believe that Myanmar, Bangladesh, and Nepal is worse than India women's football? No, right? Exactly, Sam. I didn't say it is logical. Selection of Schemach was logical. Selection of Manolo with zero international football experience wasn't logical. Yeah, but for that to be not logical, you have to have the understanding and the brains that it is not logical. No? And that was not there or is not there in the AIFF. That is my problem. I was there in the stadium today. I don't want to expose what is happening. Total mismanagement. Trailawala, they're holding the league for the sake of holding the league. They're more concerned about this new Bengal Super League project because they think that it is going to make the IFA more money than even the CFL will, because the big teams have lost interest and there is a problem. There's a crisis in Indian club football, and this is sad. These are all basic things. Is there any hope for Indian football? My depression increases every time I watch it. I quit after every match to come back again, plus I support Kerala Blast, so you can imagine my life. Yeah, I feel you. You know, and this is what Indian football is about, right? Or no, not what it is, what it should be about. Is that even if teams lose, you might say, I'm out. I'm not going to support. I'm not going to watch. But then you do come back. You come support. You push for it. You want something to happen. This is how it should be. Right? For me, that is very, very important. That be it you, be it me, be it all of us, that we need to keep on supporting Indian football. And even the Blasters. I know that as Kerala Blasters fans, it is very, very tough at this moment in time. But yeah, you need to keep on supporting. Say, can you please make a video on improvements need to be done by each women footballer, women players of current squad, because I think they will watch and try to improve. Gulzari, for that, I've not seen the players enough to be able to give them, so therefore for me, yeah, and I don't think I'm the right person. I've not seen enough of their football. What's the reason behind the many Indian footy fans with their delulu thinking? Is it desperation? I totally get it, but if it's lack of knowledge, I would be frustrated. It is lack of knowledge, and a lot of people throwing out a lot of ideas, thoughts, and creating this fake world of hope, and that's the concern, in my opinion, for Indian football, right? That there's a whole industry of people who tell you, oh, this is happening, that is happening, whatever is happening. I don't know. Is Bengal Premier League or something going to happen? I don't think Raj is going to do anything. They're supposed to announce it tomorrow, so we'll have to wait and see. We need to stop oscillating hope and support with desperation and hype. We need to stop oscillating hope and support. Simon, 100%. To me, if I'm being real, if I'm being honest, as I always love to say, it is very, very important for us to try and build on things. It's a huge challenge. In my opinion, it's a massive challenge. But hope, the women's example for me is very, very important, right? We had hope. And that's why we are where we are. And because the girls, as I repeated, showed. So therefore, yeah, we achieved it. Kerala football is focusing on Super League Kerala. They think it has the future, no hope on National League, focus on the State League. Yeah, Ajmal, and they're on the wrong path. I mean, Super League Kerala, will it really take place? I think the Bundesliga tying up, the German FA tying up with them makes no sense, right? And I will say it, the Germans are trying to support Indian football, but they're supporting the right people because they don't need to listen to me. But when they were listening to me, we were doing the right projects. And I say this about the Bundesliga as well. Sorry, the Germans are not supporting the right people, because I know what the Europeans want and need, and they will not get it. The Super League Kerala there are already two franchises who have shut shop, right? So what are we talking about? Right. So therefore, these are realities of Indian football, which you, whoever likes it or doesn't like, but we'll have to live with it, right? Yeah, Super League Kerala is losing huge money. Straight away, every entity is losing money across the board, no? Because they show them dreams which are not fulfillable because you're overpaying your players and you don't have the structure to generate revenues, right? I mean, the saddest part at this moment in time, as I speak, with the success of the Indian women's team, is we didn't get the support, the financial support from anyone outside of the system. I guess the women's team gives me hope to support the boys too now. I hope, Blue, I wish, if I look at this picture next to me, that these gentlemen up there learn something from these ladies down there. And that is passion, great fight for the AIFF batch. That is all that they need to do. And that will directly make them a better team. They are not going to convince me that they're going to be a better football team, because they will not be able to. I just need this hype and excitement around the women's game to live up and not dry down. It's all hands on deck for the AIFF to that. Simon, yes, but it is also on us fans to keep that hope alive, keep that, the pushing of things in the right direction. We need to work towards that, and it's not easy. I just hope it doesn't turn to be another 2023. Simon, yeah, that is also a danger. I remember the Nicola Adam days when I used to dream that under 17 team would take India to new high. Then they sack him and destroyed that team too. Yeah. Emma was some stage I was very close to that team. Used to follow them here in Germany. Because that there was huge potential in that team. And I think we would have done better under Nico Adam in the under 17 World Cup. That's what I believe. How did the fake news spread in Japanese, Korean and Chinese media about India bringing diaspora players? I saw fans criticize India for doing the Hannibal. I don't know. And I don't bother. I mean, honestly, these are some of these social media stories which you read or I read and I think, okay, I've read it, and then said, TK, don't bother about it. That's how I do it, right? There's a lot of stuff which is going on social media, and you don't know where did this story come from, because they're already talking about, so that's something, right? So yeah, let's see. And it is not fake news. It is something which has been discussed. So therefore, I guess something or the other they watched. They might have confused them. No, not Simon. They're talking about bringing diaspora players from Europe and North America. Expenses are high, revenue are very less. That's the reality. How much the clubs make from the broadcasting by selling players or from tickets, and they don't sell the players. Broadcasting is making money. Ticket sales are negligible. Women getting AFC first time is much bigger achievement than any friendly trophy won by Igor in 2023. But see the following to both. Same YouTubers hyping them and now cursing them don't cover women. Yeah, Blue. Very, very true. Very, very true. And some have just covered it because they realized that they needed to do something. So we need to live with it. Right, 1 hour 40 minutes on this Monday evening here as a live on arunfoot. Once more, the reminder, like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, spread it to other people that more people watch it. Do watch the short videos. I need your support, guys, so that the algorithm keeps on pushing arunfoot to more people. We're at 2,760 subscribers at this moment, so thank you. And therefore, thanks a lot, and I'll see you very, very soon. This is Arun Chaudhary signing off. Catch you soon. Good night.